Good morning to you from wherever you are joining us from. This is the Morning Call. Thank you again for joining us. The meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un in Singapore has come and gone, but several issues discussed at the summit are now raising eyebrows in Washington and amongst its allies in East Asia. President Trump, in a grilling one-hour press conference, announced that the U.S. will stop military exercises with South Korea and ultimately wanted to withdraw its 30,000 troops from South Korea. The announcement is said to have startled Japan and South Korea, and the move is now widely seen as a big concession to North Korea.
Yes, actually, Jerry, it was a very important turning point that was marked yesterday that many observers did not necessarily expect. However, it should be noted that the terms of the joint declaration signed by Kim Jong Un and Donald Trump remain very sketchy, particularly in terms of the time frame, and defer to further negotiations for this implementation. Nonetheless, the historical meeting between the two leaders provoked reactions.
The world is still reacting to the meeting of U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has been looking for answers regarding the abduction of Japanese citizens to North Korea.
I welcome the U.S.-North Korea summit as a step forward towards a comprehensive resolution of the issues surrounding North Korea. Regarding the abduction issue, I made up my mind that Japan needs to face North Korea directly and resolve it between two countries.
Meanwhile, China has suggested the international community could consider easing economic sanctions on North Korea as Kim Jong Un pledged to work toward complete denuclearization.
China has consistently held the view that sanctions are not only the answer. The Security Council's actions should support and conform to the efforts of current diplomatic talks towards denuclearizing the Korean peninsula and promote a political solution for the peninsula.
With us now on the line from Paris to decipher this meeting and the joint statement that followed is Jean-Marie Collin, the Vice President of the ICAN, International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. Good morning, Mr. Collin. The historic meeting between the U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un finally took place yesterday in Singapore. What did you take from it?
We
can congratulate ourselves that this historic summit took place. It captured the attention of the whole world. The big question is whether this summit will really trigger a process of denuclearization of the whole peninsula. For the moment, what we know, what we've seen, is there is no concrete evidence. Nevertheless, I believe that we must maintain the idea that diplomacy and search for peaceful solutions are obviously much more important and acceptable than a nuclear war in the end, or at least a potential conflict that was possible a few months ago between the two states.
Jean-Marie Collin, at
the end of their working lunch yesterday, the two leaders signed an agreement in which North Korea commits itself behind the principle of a complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. What do you expect as a kind of this commitment?
En tant qu'organisation, que campagne internationale pour l'abolition des armes nucléaires, ICAN, nous pensons qu'il faudrait procéder en 5 étapes.
As an organization, as the International Campaign for the Abolition of Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, we believe that we should proceed in 5 steps. First of all, these two states recognize the risks of using nuclear weapons and thus the humanitarian consequences if they are used. Secondly, that everyone adheres to the Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. North Korea should accept a verifiable and irreversible plan for its nuclear arsenal, which is obviously not the case at the moment. That North Korea and the United States ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and that North Korea finally rejoin the Great International Non-Proliferation Treaty.
Et pour une meilleure sécurité internationale.
And finally, Mr. Collin, how do you assess Donald Trump's anti-proliferation policy in the light of the Iranian and North Korean cases? Can we say it's hot and cold?
Oui, on peut vraiment dire comme l'expression que vous venez de dire.
Yes, we can really say, like the expression you've just said, it's really hot and cold. It's incredible to see that there was an agreement that was strong and committed Iran not to possess nuclear weapons, and that had surrounded itself with extremely important inspections by the International Atomic Energy Agency that was working. Since we know that Iran does not have nuclear weapons, and to see this agreement broken, and thus to start a dangerous process with Iran, because we do not know the future that will take place with the Iranians. And at the same time, try and create something very positive with North Korea, so that really raises questions of capacity of American diplomacy today to want to resolve the problem of nuclear proliferation and not just to do acts of communication.